All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome on back to episode 5 of the Planning Pulse podcast. My name is Beau Mellin, Senior Solution Strategist here at Active Cyber, joined as always by my co-host, Matt Harvison. Today, we're going to be talking about the different types of sheets and models that you can configure inside of Adaptive. One of my favorite parts of working inside of Workday Adaptive Planning is the fact that the sheets are so agile and flexible. And whatever your use case is for a specific type of model or budget or forecast you're trying to put together, I'm sure one of the models that we can leverage inside of Adaptive can certainly fit what you're looking for. We can configure these extremely customizable, extremely configurable based on what you guys are trying to do. I mean, at Active Cyber, we've worked with hundreds and hundreds of different customers across, every single industry and use case out there. And the modeling configuration options that you have inside of Adaptive more than fits what people are looking for. So today we're going to do a quick kind of overview and exercise of those different sheet types. Matt's actually going to share his screen and kind of walk through what some of those look like. But first, I'm going to do a quick overview of kind of the options that y'all have inside of your Adaptive instance. So the 3 sheet types, we have standard sheets, we have cube sheets, and we have modeled sheets. To kind of kick it off, I'll hit on a standard sheet. A standard sheet is where we're going to house a lot of times, a lot of kind of financial statement data or some KPIs that you and the team are interested in taking a look at. A lot of times this is data that we're integrating in from one of your source systems. Inside of Adaptive, we can integrate from absolutely any tool. Most of the times, right, it's going to be your accounts and calculations and KPIs on the rows and your time elements across the columns. Much like all the models being configurable, those time elements can be as well. So whatever time granularity you guys are on, we can go ahead and fit that aspect. So that's the first standard sheet. Matt's going to be diving into those a little bit as well. Next one I'm going to talk about is a modeled sheet. So a modeled sheet, a couple of really common use cases we see for that are either like a personnel model or a capital expenditures model or like a prepaid expenses model. This is going to look and feel a little bit different compared to a standard or a sheet or a cube sheet. A modeled sheet, you're going to have your rows and then your columns are going to house a lot of your aspects of data. A modeled sheet works similarly if you guys today are working inside of a model where you have, like I said, a lot of different columns and you're entering your data. The calculations we fire in the background of the model are referencing a lot of the data sitting on the different types of columns. Like I said, personnel, CapEx, prepaid, a lot of times where we need to bring in dates into a model as well if we're prorating expenses out or how far out should we build a specific contract. Some really good use cases on a model sheet there. Last one to hit on before I go ahead and kick it to Matt and we get into the product is our cubes. So Workday calls the cube sheets here the hyperelastic cubes. The reason for that is these sheets are built to handle an immense amount of data granularity. So you have dimensions inside of Adaptive, which are additional layers of detail, right? We look at revenue or we look at expenses, but we need to break that down by product offering or by customer or by vendor or by segment, right? Just looking at it at a top level isn't really going to do us that good. We want to be able to get more granular. The way that we're able to forecast at each unique data intersection is by leveraging the cube sheet, because we can quickly come in when we're implementing these and drag and drop them into the back end of the model. And then that's going to allow you to not only just report on revenue, but it's going to allow you to build and forecast and report on revenue by department, product, customer, size, color, all of that data intersections and granularity. It's going to be millions and millions of calculations firing in the background, and Matt's going to show that off here in a second. So that was kind of the lay of the land. We've got our standard sheets, our modeled sheets, and our cube sheets, and Matt's going to take us through those today. So Matt, I'll kick it over to you. I'm excited to see what you got whipped up for us here.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it, Bo. Appreciate the little bit of the background that you did there as well, because one of the points that you hit on there was exactly right. These are completely customizable and configurable based on your organization's needs. Now, a lot of our customers that we work with are coming from a tool like Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets, where they're just operating inside of a spreadsheet. And you can see on the screen, this is our standard sheet. It looks and feels exactly like a spreadsheet would. You can see that we've got our accounts coming down our rows here with our time period going across our columns. So very similar to what you may see inside of a spreadsheet, except for it exists a lot, without a lot of the challenges that come along with your typical Excel spreadsheet. First and foremost, as as all users know of Workday Adaptive Planning, inside of all of your sheets, you're going to have access to your level structure as well as your version that you're working on. So that's going to be that first way of battling the typical Excel spreadsheet is how do we drive our users to a particular version? How do we make sure they don't have versions saved on their hard drive? And then how do we ensure that they're only planning for their particular part of the organization? So some of those common pitfalls of Excel spreadsheets get addressed just with native functionality, which Beau and I will be digging into in podcasts to come. But standard sheets for us really are going to be best used for those financial statements. So here I'm looking at my income statement or my P&L, accounts down the rows, time across the columns for the entire company for my working budget. Now, another way we battle some of those typical Excel or Google Sheet problems is, as you can see, I've got green font on the left and black font on the right. Green represents historic actuals with black font representing our plan data. You can have that side by side inside of this standard sheet here. It keeps you from having to go back and forth between different tabs or different screens. And you can actually reference historic actual data in some of your calculations going forward. Now, because I'm at this total company level, all of my cells are grayed out. Nothing's accessible, nothing's clickable. But what I'm going to do here for us is actually going to open up Sales North. And inside of Sales North, what I'm going to do is show you that immediately all of your cells will become accessible. Now, some of these have formulas, some of them are linked, but now I've got some clickable, accessible fields, very spreadsheet-like entry where I can plug in a number and then push that forward. So standard sheet's going to be best for planning our financial statements. Next up, like Beau mentioned, we have our modeled sheets. Now, like Beau said, this is going to be good for CapEx. It's going to be good for prepaids. It'll be good for customer or item masters or SKU masters. The most common use case that we see for the model sheet is by far going to be for personnel related information. And because we've got row-based data with column-based facts about each row. And that really lines up really well with an individual-based personnel model. So organizations that have 50 employees or 5,000 employees, we can connect to your HRIS system or Workday HCM, pull in your roster, and then we've got each individual employee on each one of these rows. There are facts about their employment record, though, right? Employee IDs. What part of the organization do they roll up to? Are they contingent or employee? Are they FTE? Are they hourly? Are they salary? What benefits package do they have? All of these are different facts about the employees, and they allow us to pivot on our reports. If I wanted to run total headcount or salary, benefits, tax-related information by job roles or profiles or locations, all of that is going to be achievable inside of a modeled sheet like the one that we've got here on the screen. Now, other fields inside of a modeled sheet like start date, end date, pay rate, is this, again, hourly or salary? Those are drivers for our calculations. So they allow us to then prorate calculations. If somebody starts mid-month, obviously they're not going to have a full month of salary expense. If they start mid-year, then we wouldn't expect to see any tax-related calculations for them until their employment record starts. All of those calculations that we've got operating, like Beau mentioned, are operating in the background of the employee record. And inside the background of the employee record, these cells are uneditable for any of our users. So it provides just a little bit of a peace of mind for all of our administrative and financial users, knowing that we can put in something like an individual-based personnel model like we've got here, and no one's going to be able to change any of the calculations on it. The last type of sheet is our cube sheet. I know Beau went into pretty good detail about dimensions. Dimensions for us are just different fact points about our data. We'll be digging into dimensions in podcasts to come, but you can think of a dimension as a way to slice your data. When you're thinking about revenue, how does that break down across our customers? Customers are a great example of dimensions. Now, this particular sheet here, this cube sheet, acts like a large pivot table would exist inside of Microsoft Excel. So we're pivoting our entry points like units. What is our expected price? Are we offering a discount for this customer for this particular product that we sell? Now, because it's a cube, I can continue filtering and I can continue sorting. I can, maybe I want to see a different product grouping, or maybe I want to see all of my sales expected for a particular size or color of a product that I have. All of those are pivotable, selectable features. Additionally, as you can see, I've got accounts down the rows and time across the column, very similar to my standard sheet. But what exists inside of Cube Sheets is just a little bit stronger component. Again, I could, click on units, and maybe I want to say swap axes, or maybe I want to change my dimensions. I can change the view, and I can change the layout of exactly how my sheets look. I can change what's on the columns. I can change what's on the rows. I could do my filters to be on my rows instead. A lot of flexibility comes with Cube Sheets. It allows us to get granular when planning those dimensional intersections and then pass that information to our standard sheet. So when you think about your income statement or your P&L, you could receive revenue forecast data by customer, by product, but maybe from your income statement, you don't want to see it broken down at that granularity. Knowing that we've got the product revenue Cube Sheet sort of filling that sheet, or populating the data inside of our income statement, is one of the strengths of Workday Adaptive Planning's Cube Sheets. Now, a combination of Cube Sheets, modeled sheets, and standard sheets generally makes up all of our implementations. We found that, at Active Cyber, over hundreds of implementations, we can get our customers to be able to plan however they need to in some type of combination of modeled sheet, Cube Sheet, and standard sheet. It's our job as consultants to provide best practice recommendations for what's going to work best for you. But a combination of these sheets will achieve a successful Workday Adaptive Planning implementation. Beau, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. And I mean, I echo what you said at the end there. I mean, on a daily basis, you and I are, one of our main goals here, right, is moving people outside of Excel and Google Sheets into Adaptive. And one of the kind of key things we're doing whenever we're going through that evaluation with people is, I would say, in 80% of the calls that we're getting on, people are sharing us their workbook that they have today inside of Excel or G Sheets. And I haven't found a workbook yet where we can't say, hey, if we take a look at this and we leverage a combination of our standard sheets, our modeled sheets, and our Cube Sheets, I don't know if we could do it, right? We've never ran into that. Those three sheets all work really well together to allow us, and then at the end of the day, link on back all of our future looking data to have a P&L, a balance sheet, and a cash flow forecast that's going to stay intertwined across all three of our different types of models. So, no, Matt, I thought that was great. We're going to be getting into some more stuff here too. You got anything else you wanted to add there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just one more comment, you can make a really good point, because most of our customers are walking us through some type of workbook that they've got today, whether it's an Excel or whether it's Google Sheet. The point of going through a digital transformation process is not to just replicate what you've got inside of that document, right? So I think you hit it spot on there. It's a combination of how can we get the data into Adaptive, but we also want to provide some best practice recommendations for maybe we see other customers in your industry doing it differently. Let's have that conversation about how can we help you maybe change or grow your processes that you've got in that workbook now, and make it a little bit stronger, make it a little bit more scalable for years and years to come. So that's the only thing I'd call out there is, while we can replicate it inside, from Excel into Adaptive, that may not be the best use case, but we can certainly get you all of the planning information that you need, and again, help you guide you through that path of digital transformation.
Yeah. Love it, Matt. That was great. So, all right, that was episode 5, talking through the 3 different types of sheets. If you're still listening, a little sneak peek, episode 6 is going to be the back end and being an admin of the model management area. So stay tuned, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. You can plan on it.